Students of Pathway Worldwide. My name is Andy Vell and I'll be taking you through section 1.4 of exercise A, adding and subtracting fractions and also multiplying and dividing them too. Before we get started, I just wanted to say that if you're feeling a little anxious about seeing fractions again, don't be. A lot of people are, and I just wanted to show you guys something to help remind you what fractions are and how they're not really that scary, okay? So let's take a pie, right? Let's take a pie. I know it's not Thanksgiving, but we can have a little pie. And whenever we're taking a pie, we can cut it up so that everybody gets some, right? So you cut it right here, you can obviously see that we have two halves, right? So this one would be 1/2, one of the halves, right? So that's why they call this the denominator. Denominator. Okay? And I'm not a spelling tutor, so don't make fun of my spelling, okay? But here's the deal. Right here is denominator. This is the same thing as the denomination. Have you heard of that for churches? It's just basically what you go by. What's your name? You know what I mean? So when we change this bottom number, it's basically like changing its name. If we changed it to this, we can't say anymore this is 1/2 because that's not what it is. We need to change its name now. So we're going to call this now 1/4, right? If it's this area right here. Okay? So a denominator shouldn't scare you, okay? You should respect them, but you shouldn't scare you, okay? Fractions come easy after a lot of practice, okay? So let me go ahead and show you how to do this problem right here. I think this is problem number 18 in the book, and it's just a very basic adding problem of fractions, okay? So first we start off, these fractions right here are called mixed fractions because they have a big number, right? They have a big number, and then they have a small number, okay? So we call them mixed fractions. Okay, when it comes to mixed fractions, we can just take the big numbers and do just normal addition with the big numbers. Okay, so 13 plus 4 is going to give us about 17. Okay, now we move on to the fractions. This is where it gets a little tricky because they don't have the same bottom number. And when you're adding fractions, you can't add fractions without the bottom number being the same, right? So we need to make one fraction look the same like the other. Okay, so we can put right here, we can do something that 4 to make it look or act like a 6, okay? And I don't think there's any way we can make the 4 go into 6, but I do know of a number that has both of them in it, okay? How about we choose 12, right? I know that 4 times 3 equals 12, right? And I know 6 times 2 equals 12, okay? Now a lot of you are tempted right now to say, oh my goodness, what if I didn't know that number? I'm not a math genius like Andy. That's not a bad thing. Don't worry about it, okay? Whenever you are learning, you'll start to pick up little patterns and thoughts of being the same, you know, of, oh, I can make that number into the other one, okay? And that's really good, that you'll get really good like that. Okay, so like I said, we made this 4 into a 3, this 4 into a 12 by multiplying it by 3, and the 6 by 12 by multiplying it into a 2. So now we need, whatever we do on the bottom, we need to do on the top. So we're going to take times 2, and that'll equals 10, right? So now the new fraction is 10 over 12. So I'm just going to erase this, right? I'm going to put 10 over 12 and make this a little bit more pretty so that way you guys can see it better. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing to here. So 4 times 3 is 12. So now 3 times 3 is 9. And I'm just going to erase this too. I want to make it 9 over 12. Okay? And now they're nice. They play nice with each other because they're the same bottom number. So now we're just going to add them like normal on the top, but on the bottom just keep the same denominator because they're still 12ths. Okay? So on the bottom, we just keep them the same. Okay? And then 9 plus 10 is 19. Okay? So just before we move on, it's not finished, but just before we move on, I want to highlight a couple things. We had to get the 4 and the 6 over here to look like the same number. So we timed them by something that could get us the same number. Okay? And it worked for us. We got 12. Okay? Another thing I wanted to emphasize is that you do not add the bottom numbers. Don't add the bottom numbers of the denominators. Okay? When you're adding fractions, do not add the bottom numbers. You only add the top numbers, okay? So we have 17 and 19/12. But some of you are asking, well, wait, what about this? Why is it 19/12 when 19 is greater than 12? And that's a very good point. We need to not have that, right? So how many times can 12 go into 19? Only once, right? So we can add 1 to the big numbers, right? And take away 12 from this. So 19 minus 12 is 7. Okay? The reason why is because if you have 19/12, that's kind of like having a pizza, right? And you have all of one pizza plus a little bit more, right? So we're going to take this pizza and add it to the big numbers and just leave this fraction by itself, okay? So that is how you add mixed fractions, okay? It might not seem exciting, because it's not, but it is necessary. There's a lot of times where you would use this in the real world, and it really helps if you knew this. And that's what Pathway Worldwide is about, is to helping you guys get to know the world you live in better, you know, no matter what you do. So thank you for allowing me to teach you guys. Keep practicing, give you different ideas to try to practice, and I will see you next video.